Hi everyone, welcome to Get Good at Golf and welcome to Ball Striking Week. This week on the channel we're going to help you hit your irons purer, your drivers further and your chips and putts ever closer to the hole. If that sounds like something that you want to do, make sure you hit that subscribe button below, ring the notification bell so you don't miss our daily content, and throw a like on this video if you feel like it's going to help you. If you don't want to share it with your friends, that's fine, because you're going to be beating them every single week. Today we are focusing on driver, and we're going to talk about just how hitting better drives can lead to lower scores. Notice I said better drives, not necessarily faster, longer drives. So how can I hit better drives? Because generally what you will find, if you strike the ball out of the middle of this club face, you're going to hit the fairway more and you're going to hit it a little bit further. We don't want to be hitting it here, we don't want to be hitting it here, and we certainly don't want to be hitting it there, Dave, if you're watching. So how can I do this? First of all, I want to make sure the ball's teed up correctly. This is something which can be relative to you. I like to have the ball teed up so it's well over the crown. The reason for that is I want the driver to be working up once it hits that ball. So I want the low point of the driver to be bang in the middle here. Some people would tee this lower if your angle of attack was a little bit shallower, but I really like the idea of making sure this driver reaches its low point, sternum stays behind, and then the driver keeps working up and around the arc into your finishing position. Notice how all good drivers of the golf ball generally hold their finishing position. A lot of drivers of the golf ball will move the feet, they will have a little bit of a different transition, but the really good ones do generally hold their balance. Now, how do I go about doing this? We know the ball's teed up correctly, we know the ball position is forward of centre. That's going to help us get that high launch, low spin, and generally it's going to make sure that club face is nicely squared up at impact. But how do I keep that balance so well? Generally what I want to make sure I'm doing here is, as I load up to the top of the backswing, feel like my sternum stays fairly central, but I get a nice big coil and turn around. You'll see that I lose some flexion in that right knee, and from here I can then start the transition into the downswing. I can start the club working down by initiating the downswing from the ground up. So you can see my left knee moving there, my left hip moving, then my torso moving, then my arms, then the shaft, and then finally the club head. You'll see there that my sternum stays central, it doesn't slide into it here. That's where you start to see people roof it, Dave, and that's also where you start to see people, if they lean back, start to top it. So it's really important where your sternum stays in relation to how you're going to strike this golf ball. It's also mega important that you rotate on the downswing. We don't want to see you slide into it there, because as we've said, Dave, unfortunately, sorry Dave, but you ruined my mini driver. But if we do all those things correctly, you shouldn't really have anything that can go too wrong, because the club face is going to be square, you're going to be creating lots of speed, and you're generally going to strike this driver really nicely down the fairway, just like that. Now, I hear you're all saying, James, that's all good and well, but I don't do those things. How can I get to do those things, and how can I improve my strikes on that driver? Luckily enough, we have the drill master with us, who's going to help you.
Okay guys, so we need to think about now a drill for you to do to get better. James has taught you through there. Yes, we need to turn. Yes, we need to be in the right angles to be able to get that strike and start flushing it. And here, a lot of it is about that body. So James mentioned here about not getting your body moving off in the backswing, but then also into it. A lot of times we see people start with the upper body. We get that angle of attack coming down. That's where we get the one off the top of the club, or we get that low heely one that moves to the right. So I want you to have the reference here of when I set up, I've got this club just around about half a driver head's width inside my left heel, and from there I'm trying to think about my sternum. So when I'm loading up into the backswing, I want to keep it behind there, but I'm not moving away from it. And then on the way down, I want to think, right, my sternum is staying behind here all the way down into impact, and you can see that my angles are backwards with my upper body. I'm then going to get that club working on the way up. I'm then going to go through the ball and then push off into my finish and finish here with chest and hips towards the target. What I'm not seeing, and again, hold your finish position to get your feedback. If you're somebody who is over here and your chest is pointing to the left, that means we've thrown your upper body at it. I've over-rotated here, and that's one big thing we see from people who slice the golf ball, is I'll be pointing over there or I'll be falling over into that finish position. So if I'm able to keep this sternum back, I'm then able to get through to point towards my targets at the finish. If I can do that, I can get into this setup nice and easy, and like James said, I've got my reference point where my sternum wants to be, and I don't have to put much effort into this to get that ball launching nice and high. Chest is down the target there, and that ball is a nice little draw. That wasn't the best strike there, but because I've got my sternum in the correct position, I've actually caught the ground a little bit before.
Tee height.
Tee height was good there, so I've then worked on the way up to make a good contact. I've still got a contact there from not the best of timing. If we get that set up right and work my sternum correctly, even a good bad one is going to go down the middle of the fairway, keep you in play, and help you get good at golf.